Welcome back, everyone listening to another episode of EastEnders Weekly Podcast, where we discuss the British soap EastEnders.
We certainly do.
And we are officially unofficial, not related to the BBC. And also, we're discussing the episodes that were broadcast between the 25th and 29th of November. Christmas is almost here.
It is, but you wouldn't know it, would you? There's no trailers or anything. Although
all decorations in the square.
Kathy's is decorated now, isn't
it?
Oh,
is it?
Yeah, it's been decorated up, I think,
you can trust
for Christmas.
Kathy.
Well, of course. She likes to...
She's got spare time because she doesn't do anything.
She probably had too much tinsel when she was doing the Albert. She thought she'd bring it on down to the Kathy's. Hopefully it's not flammable, because we don't want to fire on the square on Christmas Day. That's for certain.
Well, all the spoilers for Christmas keep saying explosive day and a big bang and like stuff like that. It's like there's going to be something happen, I imagine. But I imagine on Monday, 1st December, the whole set will be decorated all overnight suddenly.
Yeah.
Normally what happens.
It's like when Remembrance Day comes in and everyone's suddenly wearing a poppy. Just for one day. And they all leave again. They all disappear without one.
Do you think we're going to get the Christmas choir back from last year? They're going to do a second appearance?
No, I think they've left it too late now this year. That story was being introduced, had been introduced by now. I liked that because it gave Jean a story. At the time, we were really happy because Jean had a story.
Oh, yeah.
And now look at us. Yeah. Now look at the past, what she's had this year. It seems so small in comparison to what she did.
Before we go on, you're Alex.
Oh, I am. I'm Alex. And you're Ben?
Ben. After Ben Mitchell.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me.
Talking of Ben Mitchell.
Do we have to?
I'm afraid we do.
Okay.
At BenderBen_ on Twitter.
Oh, yes.
Is
a parody account.
Yes, a parody account of Ben Mitchell is hopefully doing a sterling job for us today, promoting our new merch.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we have a brand new design. It's out now, and for this weekend only, or I suppose when you're listening to this, today's the last day. If you go on to our merch site, which is bit.ly/EEW merch, you will get 15% off exclusively our new merch design, and I think you'll be very pleased to see it's a little BALLUM motif.
Yeah.
It's got BALLUM, it's got rainbows, it's got kissing, it's got men. What more can you ask for on a design?
It is. We spent a long time designing this.
We really did.
So, yeah, it's out.
Yeah.
And our old one's out still as well, Queen Vic bust.
Yep,
She's still there, kicking around the back.
Yeah, she is, which we still love. We love that design, but we thought a bit of a refresh, just in time for Christmas. What better way than just celebrating the rainbow gay love of the BALLUM? And, you can get it on everything. You can get it on T-shirts, caps, mugs. I think you've got it
pillows,
on...
teddy bear.
Pillows. You can do what you like with those pillows.
The teddy bear's my favourite.
Your teddy bear. Mobile phone cases. You've got it on those trendy, like, jars that have been turned into...
drinking jars.
Drinking jars as well. It's a really cool design. Go to bit.ly/EEW merch. It's on Spreadshirt and you can find us. There'll be links on our Twitter as well and on our Facebook group and on our Instagram because we're plastering it everywhere because we're so pleased with it and we really think it'd be a great gift for all those BALLUM fans out there.
Yeah,
Treat
say
yourself.
You're a BALLUM fan.
Yeah, if you want to show the world how much you love the BALLUM, show the world by wearing a T-shirt, cap, jumper, everything. I've actually ordered myself a nice little thick jumper.
Ooh.
A hoodie. I'm very much looking forward to that because the quality is top notch. What are you getting? The teddy bear.
Oh yeah, teddy bear and pillow and cap and glass and mouse pad and buttons.
Am I gonna
and
pins,
apron,
the pin badges and the apron? Oh yeah, there's an apron. Oh, I reckon I'm gonna come home one night and you're just gonna be covered in BALLUM.
For one night only. Right, so let's start discussing the actual show, EastEnders, because that's what we're here for. That's what everyone's listening for. And busy week this week with the wife swap. It meant all the storylines sort of swapped into each other's. But we're going to start off with like the shorter one of Louise and kind of the remnants of Mel sipping through for another week-ish.
Yeah, her memory is still alive on the square.
Kind of. But obviously we now have Lisa on the mission to get Sharon done for murder. She's not convinced by this man's video and the police's evidence. And it kind of makes that thing that we didn't like last week where Louise is questioning, are you on your meds? Because you're not acting normal. And it's amazing me how quick Louise is to side with Phil over Lisa.
Well, I mean, I think Louise, being Louise, has had her dream snatched away from her of going to Portugal and living this fine life in the sun with her and her baby and her perfect life with her perfect husband. And now Mel's died. I think she's seeing it slowly seep away in her fingers. So she's grasping at anything that could cause her to still have a good life. And I think her rich daddy, Phil, she might as well stay at home. So I think I'm not that surprised it's taken some persuasion. I think she's genuinely quite upset that she's seeing her mum slowly, seemingly getting back off track.
Because she is still on her meds.
She is, but when she was confronted by Louise to show her...
She'd had them all.
She ran... Yeah, exactly. So she'd run out. So Louise instantly came up with, well, no, you're not taking them anymore.
Your pot's empty, but no, it's the end of the week.
Yeah, exactly. We've all got to top up. We all get our pension on a Thursday.
I mean, Lisa it's that thing where, like, even though she is on her pills, she was acting like she wasn't, even though she is. So that was a bit weird to me when she, like, grabbed her and shook Louise.
Yeah, she was really quite violent, wasn't she?
All right, Lisa, you on your meds? Made me question it, and I know she is on them. So that was a bit weird. Like, she was acting erratic, but I suppose her best friend's just been run over.
No matter what anyone says, she's adamant that Sharon had something to do with her death, because she knows the secret too. So she knows that Sharon was desperate, so anything could have happened. I mean, Keanu...
Think of poor Sharon. She saw Mel get run over. She needs some meds.
But this is the point, isn't it? Sharon who's even brought that up. She said, I saw her getting hit by the van. I wouldn't lie about something like that. I tried to save her and stop her. And Lisa's having none of it. But Keanu and I think Sharon also are feeling quite guilty that they're now ruining another person's life. They've ruined Mel's life. And now she's ruining Lisa's life as well. And Keanu is in the mix with this one.
Sending all crazy. And I loved that Sharon was like delivering the pharmacy bag to Lisa in the cafe.
I'll take this for her.
And did it all very publicly and, lots of witnesses. So that's what she needs at the moment. But she's still not believing Sharon because she knows that she's got this big lie. She just hasn't got that last piece of the puzzle, I guess.
Well, that's it. So she is the only one who knows that the baby is a lie, that it's not Phil's, but she can't...
Apart from Karen.
Oh, yeah, Karen knows, doesn't she? I've forgotten that. I mean, so will Lisa get Karen involved, do you think?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering how this is going to come out now. Unless Mel has left something somewhere, like to tell Lisa. But I don't know why Mel would have done that. But apart from that, the only other person who knows is Karen.
Karen's concern doesn't seem very, very high on her list of looking after Keanu at the moment, because she just seems to be happy with the life of luxury she's seemed to have gained this week. But yeah, she doesn't seem very concerned about Keanu, considering that she made such a play to convince Keanu to move away with Sharon as well, that she wanted... when they kidnapped him and he had to do the roof jumping.
Yeah. And I mean, he's not really much of a tailor anymore, is he, Keanu? He's more of a Mitchell.
But then when he went to the wedding made him
that's true.
Instantaneously became this tailor again, and he became a likeable character. It's whenever he's around the Mitchells, he's become really unlikable now and really difficult to kind of be on his side.
We also had Louise as well worrying about arranging Mel's funeral, which is a bit weird. It's like they're pretending that Mel had like no relatives or family to do this for her.
Yeah, it's really odd, isn't it? They're not bringing them back.
And Sharon's like, I'll pay. It's like the only person in the whole world of these people in Wolford. But Mel's got a vicar for a brother. I'm sure he could get a decent discount for her.
He could get a good deal, wouldn't he, with the church?
He could even do it for her.
Well, yeah, but I expect he'd be a bit upset performing his own sister's funeral.
Yeah, but you'd think they would mention like, Alex is sorted out. Don't
Not
worry
me,
about
by
it.
the way. That's
the
her
vicar, her brother.
Brother, yeah.
But her dad's still around, as far as we know, as well. So why are they not just?
Also, the 3 other wives of Ray. I'm sure they would like to throw some dirt on her grave during the funeral at some point. It'd be interesting to see who arrives for the funeral. We've just talked this before. You were adamant there wasn't going to be a funeral, so I'm glad that there is going to be some kind of...
Well, there's something. There's a hearse, at least, next week.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a full affair as well. Like, a lot of the square are going to turn up. Don't forget, they all toasted to Mel. It wasn't like when Hunter died and no one seemed to care.
Everyone was like, thank God.
Yeah, that rampage is over. But it'd be interesting to see what Mel's funeral will bring up, because obviously I think Lisa will react quite badly finding out, because she's sure to find out that Sharon has paid for the funeral, and I'm sure the term blood money will be bandied about somewhere.
Yeah.
Your blood money.
You're paying off your life.
That's it. You can't wash your hands clean. She's like Lady Macbeth, but not Lady Macbeth in the slightest.
Right, so we get to talk about the first of our wife swaps, and that is the Taylors getting matched up with her dad, which is not great. But that was obviously Gray's grand plan. To stop any jealousy or her being with another man, he thought, I'll just hook you up with your dad. Chantelle.
Well, because Chantelle made an off joke saying, knowing my luck, I'll end up with my dad. I don't really know why Gray couldn't trust Chantelle. That was an interesting...
He's controlling, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's never really shown any jealousy toward her seeing other men before.
He doesn't let her post on Instagram, does he? Like, even that.
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. It's always been toward her work life or having friends outside of the house, but never really... I know it's all associated with one another. It's just interesting that you saw it this time for the first time. That he's... And especially since Chantelle's put him in a situation this past week and two, that she's clearly showing that, or trying to show that she has this power now. She has this authority she can kind of boss him around a little bit and say, right, well, I've got the control and I don't want to do X, Y, and Z, and you'll listen. And he is listening.
It's funny, isn't it? How it really swaps. And it sounds really weird saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway. But it's so weird how, like, confident she's being to him. And, like, not because she shouldn't. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be confident or be able to talk to him, but because of we know of their past.
Yeah.
It's just really weird how she's so... Like, she's really... laying into him,
and the fact that he's allowing it.
Yeah.
And again, he shouldn't be allowed to feel that.
But like in this storyline, it's just really weird how she's suddenly this like
he's submitting and he's allowing her to do this, which is worrying me a little bit because I feel like it's going to boil over at some point, and it's going to be Gray at 11.
But they're not really showing any shots of him like clenching his fist or looking angry at a wall or something. Like,
no,
really,
but
are they?
They're always showing shots of him kind of looking at her when she walks away or through the window. So he's always almost calculating. Yes, and calculating toward her every time she says or does something. So it's weird because it feels like Gray is turning a leaf, but at the same time it feels as though Gray would never do that, and that the whole time he's summing it up in his own mind. When's the right time to then start the abuse again?
That's the trouble. Like you're in this. My emotions are so confused this week with Gray.
Are they?
And Gray, he's in this little grey sweater. His hair's all neat, it's all trim, being nice to Bailey, like super nice.
Well, he's being nice also to her mum, Karen.
Yeah, he's putting up with Karen, which is, you know.
Well, really putting up with Karen. Like, she's having a full foot bath as well. She's another one. I reckon
she's
they're selling
measuring up his units.
Have you noticed that everyone's got these foot baths? They're selling them down the market cheap.
Oh, yeah,
has
Kathy's.
To be. Yeah, Kathy had one. Now Karen.
Big Mo's probably selling them. It's a storyline that got cut and they forgot to edit out.
Or do you reckon Winston's kind of not making the money on the records anymore because of Spotify, Apple Music?
Maybe. Moves on to spas.
Yeah, foot spas. That's his new way.
But it was nice because, you're there and Gray was being really nice and understanding about Bailey's mum and saying, kind of hints, because we know that his mum died when he was young, so he was like relating to her on that side. And you're watching him, you're like, oh, what a lovely guy. But then you like remember suddenly like he's evil and beats his wife up. So it's very confusing for him.
I'll be honest, at no point have I ever thought, oh, what a lovely guy.
Yeah, but that scene in the end when he was talking to Bailey was really nice. There was nothing menacing about it.
But yes, exactly. But he must have known he was being watched on. He knew that Mitch and Chantelle were there. He almost set it up as well because Chantelle said to Mitch, I know where Bailey is. So obviously Gray had said in a scene that you probably didn't see, Bailey's at the park, I'm going to go find her. You go find Mitch. So it was all set up by Mitch. This whole
plans.
It was a coup by Gray, and for me, everything is very calculated, and he's working his way, and he's letting Chantelle think that she's powered. This is just another way of him to manipulate her.
Why do they have to do this to us?
It's not to us, it's just to you.
Could have been such a nice little character, Gray could have.
Yeah, but you said that months ago, and you realised the kind of character he became. The thing which is the biggest kick in the teeth is the fact that Mitch was right, and we cannot get over this.
Yeah,
but
Mitch was horrible this week, and he's meant to be the nice one.
Yeah, Mitch was terrible. Mitch stood up his own daughter for a dinner and looking at the stars at her dead mother's star so he could get his end wet.
Yeah, and he even spent the night in the salon, so he didn't even bother coming home.
Yeah, because he must have been embarrassed, I guess. He was embarrassed to see Bailey the next morning. But
really
that's
horrible.
Just so sheepish, isn't it?
Yeah.
So bad of him.
And even when he was like trying to impress her the next day, he doesn't know anything about Bailey, so he didn't even know what to do.
Oh, that's right. Or he thought he could just like buy her. And I suppose to some extent it did work. But it's interesting because now Mitch got his own way, Mitch now sees Grey as an okay guy, and so all it took was that is such a simple way of getting Mitch round. After Mitch was so adamant that Grey wasn't Grey, and he even released some of the cracks in Grey too for people to see, and now he's
because they had that truce, didn't they, a few weeks ago, and now he's impressed him this week. And speaking of Chantelle being more confident, it's really been nice to see her interact outside of Grey as well. Like, we had her interact with Linda quite a few times.
Oh yes, over the a story we'll be talking about later.
And it's just nice to see her away from just Grey, like spending time with Bailey and being a sister to her. It's like a real nice side of Chantelle to see.
But again, I think this is very clever by the writers, because I think that they're letting Chantelle out into the wild, out into the public, and once Grey starts clawing back some of these liberties that he seemingly has allowed Chantelle to have, it's going to be a bit like Flowers for Algernon. She's going to miss what she once had, and she won't almost regretfully make a big mistake that will get her into even deeper trouble with Grey. So yeah, I think more dark times are ahead for Chantelle.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
But I do think I think it's Christmas. It's all coming at Christmas, and I'm excited but scared for her.
I mean, the guy who plays Grey did an interview recently, and he said in the interview, Grey's not a villain, and there's more to him to come out soon. So they are going to explore this therapy side or his family side. But it's just always have that question whether they can truly redeem a character who has this storyline.
Yeah,
which I just don't think they can. But
I think they can, so long as it's shown that he has taken the correct steps to help himself.
But on the show, I mean, viewer-wise, do you think they could ever have the viewers accept it?
I mean, I think anything's possible now after Stuart. Because Stuart's...
Yeah,
well, look what he did. A year of terror to the Carters, like the most loved family. I suppose they were a bit weakened by that point when they were doing.
But all of his abuse was in the past, not on screen. Whereas Grey, you've seen it play out on screen. I guess that's the difference.
But his abuse was played on screen, wasn't it? It was played with Mick
his
and
self-abuse, wasn't it?
No,
on screen.
He was doing it to others, wasn't he? And every week I bring it up. Where's his friend gone?
Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan Box. Where's he gone? I mean, don't get me wrong. It'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with Grey. I worry that they may be a bit worried that they can't take it too far, and so that's why they're saying that he's not a villain. But it's interesting that he's saying he's not a villain, because obviously they're going to relate it to some kind of past he has, and there's going to be something very deep. And he has mentioned that on a couple of occasions, his dark past. But
it's interesting. I mean, all actors have to say that about their characters, because you're playing a character, you have to find a relatable source. Yeah, like even Max Branning, even Jake Wood has to find something in Max.
I mean. That's
talk about a villain.
That's a hard thing to push.
That's a villain.
Max Branning.
Yeah,
that's a prat.
Oh, of Grey any day. I mean, just speaking of the wife swap thing, who would you like to be swapped with on this? Out of who was involved?
Well, did we say this last week? I can't remember.
Yeah, we didn't know who was involved last week.
Oh, so only who's involved?
Yeah.
Let me just get out my notes and find out for you.
Well, you need notes, do you?
Well, I know, but I just like to make sure.
Not missing out on any Kush action.
I mean, if I had to pick out of who there was, I think it would be Cat and Kush. I think.
Who would you be with?
Kush, obviously. You could be with Cat. No, well, apparently a night out with Cat is not what it used to be.
She's a bit tired and bored now, isn't she?
I know. So
can't keep up with Patrick.
All Patrick did was have a couple of glasses of rum and listen to some records, and she's like, "Oh, I'm knackered, Kush. I can't take anymore."
Well, maybe Kush has tired her out.
What?
That's what Big Mo always said.
She was tired. She thought she was going to get a rest for 2 days. Actually, that makes sense. I could see that.
What about least like to swap with?
Oh, Max, 100%. If I had Max, I'd probably...
You'd end up having an affair with Martin.
Yeah, exactly. I'd end up sleeping with someone else.
Oh dear. I'll swap with Grey then, because he's got quite a few inches on his TV.
He has. And the sports channels.
Yeah, and he's really good with his feet.
Mm-hmm. And he'll get you a free haircut.
Oh yeah.
You can have your hair crimped.
Attentive.
Would you like your hair crimped, Ben?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not much there, but you can use what God gives you.
Right. We're going to go on to a brand new game. Yes, another brand new game, and we'll see you afterwards. Welcome to another new game, which I fondly named Pauline's Fruit Bowl.
Oh, yum yum, full of Pete's fruit and veg. Well, just fruit. Obviously.
Yeah.
He would be putting veg in there. That would be a very strange fruit bowl.
So I obviously have Pauline's fruit bowl in front of me.
Oh, I wonder what that was. Okay. Yeah.
Sonia smashed it once. We remember. It's all been put back
I can see the
together.
crazy glue. You could have at least cleaned it out before you used it. There's still reminiscences of old grapes and all kinds of stuff in there.
So what this game is basically is there's different categories in Pauline's fruit bowl. There's quite a lot. There's about 18 categories here.
My goodness, you've worked hard.
And you obviously pick one out. Don't know what it is.
Mm.
Whatever you pick out, you have to name in 30 seconds as many of that thing from the show as you can.
Okay. That seems
in that 30
fair.
seconds.
Okay.
And then part 2 of the game is however many answers you give is like your lives on trying to answer the question in part 2.
Oh,
so
right.
If you get 10
in part
things
1
in category, you get 10 chances to answer the question in part 2 correctly.
Wow, so that's basically it's something to keep people gripped to listen to part 2 later in the show, I take it.
Exactly.
What a cliffhanger. What a water cooler moment for everyone.
It is. So, are you ready to dip in to the fruit bowl?
Yeah, it looks deep.
And see what category you get.
I'm going to make a little...
Yeah, it does actually exist, everyone. This is real.
This is actually a real thing. Okay, so that one. Do you want me to read it to you, or do you want me to...
Just read it out.
Okay.
So in 30 seconds, you have to name...
as many Mitchells.
Oh, as possible. Okay.
I'm on for that.
Right, so you ready? 3, 2, 1, quick fire, go.
Okay, Phil Mitchell.
Yep.
Grant Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon Mitchell.
Yes.
Ben Mitchell.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh no, Louise Mitchell.
Yeah.
Whitney Mitchell. She married Grant. Did she die with Mitchell?
No, that's fine. We'll get after that.
Okay.
5 seconds.
Frank Mitchell. Oh my goodness. So, what's the aunt?
Time's up.
Ah.
You mean Aunt Sal?
Aunt Sal. Is she a Mitchell? Oh no, she wouldn't be, would she?
But Peggy is. You could have said Peggy.
I said Peggy.
Oh, did you? I can't remember. Roxy. What about Roxy?
Oh, Roxy and
Ronnie. Lexi.
Yeah. Oh, Amy.
Yeah, see. Isn't Amy Branning though? I don't know.
I don't know. Oh yeah, she'd be a Branning now, wouldn't she?
Anyway, you got 7 correct.
Oh,
so you got 7 chances at the next part 2's question.
Please myself for that.
Yeah, not too bad, but not excellent.
Oh, come on.
But there you go. So you've got 7 correct, and then in part 2, we're going to use those 7 and deplete them.
I think it sounds so morbid.
So that was part 1 of Pauline's Fruit Bowl. So you're going to have to wait for part 2, but before then, part 2 of the game, that is. But before then,
it's a thrilling part. I strongly suggest you listen.
We've got the Carters to talk about, and we've got Linda's storyline, which seems to have been announced weeks ago, but only taken like 3 episodes to actually reach the end. It's like...
Well, this is just the beginning. We haven't...
Do you think it is?
Yeah, we haven't climbed the summit yet. Well, yeah, it's gone at 0 to 60 in less than a nanosecond.
It's very quick how they've developed this. And obviously, I know we watched Classic EastEnders recently, but Angie's was so much more like paced out. But I guess it was more of a way of life for Angie than it was for Linda. But it just seems like, okay, Linda is full-blown alcoholic now.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, though. I think for Angie, she was able to hide it really well. And like, as you said, it was a part of her life. So everyone kind of associated alcohol with Angie. With Linda, not so much. Like, she likes a drink, but this is new. This is something everyone's kind of spotting. And, you know, Max has already said, like, oh, she likes to, put it away and
outdrink me.
Yeah.
And I guess she's kind of just doing it in plain sight, isn't she? Like, she's not hiding it.
No.
But she's not seeing, or no one's really noticing it as a problem because she runs a bar.
Well, because it's EastEnders and everyone drinks.
Well, yeah, that too.
I mean, Martin's in the same pub at the same time as Linda drinking her second bottle of wine, while he's getting drunkenly angry on his 3rd, 4th, 5th tanker from his uncle Pete's tankard. And
I can't believe that. It's like there was a fire. There's been like multiple fires and burnings.
Yeah, same tankard.
Yeah, Pete's is still there.
Yeah, well, just like Pete, he'll never die.
But obviously we got Linda, because she was hungover at school and she drove into the car, and of course, whose car was it?
One of the yummy mummies.
Yeah, the main one as well.
The head of the mafia.
So she ended up having to go to court really quickly again in like 2 days. Court date. They sent her a text.
That was quite quick, wasn't it? Maybe they like to just churn them out. Maybe it's so common that they constantly have a room space ready for a drink driving incident.
And we, of course, we always have the no more secrets, Mick.
No more secrets.
Quite a relatively...
Another secret.
I know. It's relatively... I know it's not a normal thing to happen, but it wasn't like she killed someone or robbed something. It's like it was an accident and now she has to go to court and her level was over because she drank the night before.
But she was embarrassed.
Yeah, but it was quite an easy thing just to say to Mick.
Oh no, I appreciate that, but as I say, she was embarrassed, and don't forget before that or after she got done for driving into another car, she looked at the bottle bin and she saw that it was full of bottles, and not all of those were Shirley's.
No, only one.
No, yeah, only the straight vodka. But
she went to court. She obviously didn't tell Mick, and but Chantelle knew.
Yeah, but that's not how Mick found out.
No, but it was interesting how Linda had another drink again that evening, and she was behind the bar, and she was getting a bit like she's quite a vicious. She never used to be a vicious drunk. She used to be quite happy. And when she used to wanted to puke over Stuart for fun.
Oh yeah, no, not anymore.
Because Leo popped up by the bar, didn't he?
For one yes. Scene. She had a few words to put in Leo's ear concerning someone
Still not over Whitney.
Yeah, she's not, is she? And considering it earlier that evening as well, she was like, getting along with Whitney and kind of encouraging her to, see Leo and get together. And then stabs her in her back.
Two-faced
immediately.
bitch.
She is two-faced straight away. She then does something really nasty and says, watch out for her.
Yeah, and then looks at Mick.
Yeah, which is obviously more ammo for Leo's cannon now.
Little database on Whitney. Mm-hmm. But she also was really horrible to Chantelle, who'd been like really nice and like really supportive of her the whole time and offered to like do lifts for the kids so Mick wouldn't have to find out. And she's hiding in the toilets waiting for Chantelle to wash her hands.
Yeah.
So she can gang up on her.
An assassin, wasn't she? Yeah, she kind of just leapt out. It's like, don't you say anything to Mick.
I know. She like grabbed hold of her as well. It's like, all right. But obviously Chantelle's all confident now, so she's pushed her off.
She just brushed her off and said, don't you touch me like that again, Linda. Or else I won't be driving anyone to school tomorrow.
No. So yeah, it's interesting to see Linda really go, in a week she's gone quite extreme with her drinking and her moods. But I suppose she's still not accepting Ollie, or she's still worrying about Ollie. But...
Well, she saw how easily Ruby was able to be around Ollie this week as well. And again, that was really unsettling for her, and she didn't like that she was seeing everyone around her seems to be able to just get on with Ollie. And
because Mick took him to school and he said, he's fine actually, isn't it? I don't know what you keep saying there's a problem. He didn't mind the change in routine. She was like, oh.
And also when he found a clock on the floor and Ruby was like, well, that's strange, why isn't it on the floor? And Mick just said, Ollie likes clocks, he likes to set off alarms around the house. And for Linda, that was a chore, that was a headache. But for Ruby, she was, okay, obviously Ruby, it's not her son, but she was able to take a step back and went, oh, okay, and then found a clock.
Yeah, just what it is.
But we found a clock in her flat that she didn't use anymore and thought Ollie would be interested in playing with it. And, this interaction that everyone seems to find very easily with themselves and Ollie, but Linda still can't break that barrier.
It's almost like the problem's in Linda's head, really.
The problem is in Linda's head.
Yeah.
But
you're not going to find it at the end of the bottle, Linda.
No, of course not.
It's the age-old tale.
But I mean, someone put it really eloquently on Twitter this week.
Really?
Apologies. Oh yeah. Apologies for someone. Apologies because I can't remember who it was exactly, but shout out to that person. And they just basically said that Linda is concerned about what's wrong with Mick and causing her to drink. Mick is concerned with what's wrong with Linda, causing him to have panic attacks. Why don't they just talk to each other?
No more secrets.
And keep to their word of no more secrets. Talk together and just sit down calmly, and the problem will be fine. They're almost. This is the thing. They're almost not good for each other anymore, Mick and Linda, and it seems to be heading to them, maybe splitting and
because even when I see them both together, I'm just like, I just don't feel much.
It's just the fact that they just don't seem good for it. They used to be a team. Mick and Linda was a team. They
bring out the worst in each other now.
Exactly.
I mean, and people say like, if they always sat down and talked about it, there wouldn't be a storyline. But like, there would be a storyline. It just takes a little bit more writing or creativity, I guess. But there's no excuse for characters acting dumb just so they can keep alive.
I mean, they can do that writing. You're saying it takes a bit more time and creativity. That's what a two-hander is. And EastEnders are famous for making two-handers, where the characters have a whole half an hour, or an hour in some cases, where they just sit down and they talk it through with one another. It can be done, and it can be done eloquently, but it's just that At the moment, again, we're at the stage of EastEnders, and we said this last week, where everything seems to be churning out, and they're not giving things time to nurture and grow.
Like it's like the alcohol. It's like Linda got 3 duff-duffs in a row, and that's like her alcohol story, and she's at her lowest in like 3 days.
That's right.
God, what's happening? And the next week it will be finished.
Although I can't blame her for drinking when she was at Max's.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, she had 2.5 bottles out of 4.
Yeah.
You know, that's a standard with Max.
I love that Max was bright as a daisy when he woke up the next morning. He's like, all right, Linda, I've made tea. See you in the kitchen.
Because Linda had it all. But, you know, Max was like, don't drink too much. I want you to make my dinner. You're my wife.
That was great.
And he wasn't even joking, I don't think, unless the delivery was wrong. But I think he was being serious.
Well, I think he was serious, because then later in the week, when Ruby ran off with the story we'll talk about in a bit with Martin, and he was just like, she'll come running back to me, because look at me, I'm a ginger Casanova.
Yeah, and right at the end of the week, Max also pointed out to Mick that, your Linda, she can put it back a bit, can't she? She had bottles at my house. And so Mick's now, I assume next week he's going to start noticing. I
think he noticed at the end of this week. He was looking over the bar, wasn't he, as she poured another glass.
So she's doing her hungover haggard, like, acting well. Like, on Friday's episode when she came back and she saw, like, perfect Ruby there, like, being perfect mum, and she, like, her hair bun was out of place, which
her mascara's like smudged underneath her eyes.
Her hair bun's never out of place. So
well, that bun is famous.
Exactly.
Famous for secret recordings.
But I mean, yeah, she's doing a really good job with storyline, Kelly Bright. But it's just being propelled a bit too fast for me.
It's unfortunately we're in an era at the moment.
But they announced it like months ago. Yeah. Why were they not drip feeding it to us? But that's what it is. We're in the Hollyoaks era.
That's a good term.
Speaking of acting like Hollyoaks, we had Jags.
I mean, I've made a promise. I've made a promise that we're going to give Jags a chance. That should be like a peace sign. Give Jags a chance. It's my mantra.
I have given him
Give Jags a chance. Give Jags a chance. Give Jags a chance.
You know what? But people keep saying that on Twitter.
Yeah.
All over the place. When Pat turned up in 1986, I didn't have to give her a chance. She was there, belly laughing in the Vic, making friends with everyone, cracking jokes, amazing actress. And it took one scene for me to know I wanted more of her. She was only in like a 2-episode contract and she was brought back for 30 years. That's you don't need to always give people a chance. I
mean, that was a different time. That's all I'm going to say as a defence. But yes, but then you liked Ash when she immediately came in.
Yeah, Ash is amazing.
And Ash is a great character.
That my first impression of her being amazing has been followed through with her being amazing with giving more scenes.
Yes.
You can tell now. You don't need to give people a chance. You can tell.
I mean,
there's a certain level.
I don't disagree with you. I have to say, this isn't an all-round tarnish of the whole of the Painter brothers, because I actually like Vinny and I like Kheerat. It's and just Ash. Oh, and of course Ash. But I just
it's not necessarily even the actor. Like, it's not the actor's fault. He's given the script. He's given direction. We've just got rid of Robbie Deadwood.
Yeah.
Finally, and then they bring him in straight away to replace him. Why?
Well, I mean, this week he was shot down by his own brother whilst talking to Chantelle, and his biggest story was the fact that he couldn't organise a rat protection ring, which is a very strange thing, by the way. I need to bring up that the story at the moment for the Painter brothers is the fact that they're starting some kind of scam where they're going to every single establishment in Wolford, letting off a rat. And then saying, well, we can give you 24-hour rat protection.
For cash. Basically. So, yeah, it's money.
Well, it's just like a mafia thing, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, we'll protect it. It's a protection ring. But for rats. This is my point. It's not a protection ring against other
smashing up the place or something.
Yeah, basically, or destroying the shop. It's for rats. It's one rat that, well, we don't even know if there was a rat. We just had Jags saying, oh, a rat! in the corner and then going, my suit is itchy, and then walking off.
And he's always making jokes about how he wants to eat crisps or something.
Well, he's got an eating disorder.
Yeah, but it's not because it's like a joke. But
he's always hungry. He's I'm hungry. And you're right about the crisps.
Time for characters like that.
No, but it just seems so wooden and boring, and like where do you go with someone like that? Really,
nowhere.
I mean, at least Vinny...
Fat Boy got crushed in a cube.
That's great. Are you suggesting we do the same with Jags?
I don't know if he deserves that ending, really.
No. Maybe he should have a Donna ending and he just gets spat on by Hayley Slater as he drives off in a black cab.
But obviously we're talking about Jags and his rat thing because that all started because he somehow got invited to Ian's launch party by Ruby.
Yeah, well, it's because she wanted him to have ethnic diversity.
Yeah, that's not the weird thing. Like, the weird thing is, how does Ruby have Jags' contact number?
Or the weirder thing is that the fact that they had to make a point that EastEnders doesn't have very good ethnic diversity.
The BBC wrote that in.
Yeah, that's it. We do have ethnic diversity. We have Jags.
Oh, so that's weird. Like, I don't know how Ruby's never met any of these brothers before, ever. Like hardly anyone has, apart from Ben and Martin. No. So that's just weird in itself. But then we had Ian's campaign where they always do that thing where someone talks about someone while they're stood next to them and they don't know they're there. So they did that thing.
Yeah, but it was Max that did it. So instantly, again, Max has mucked up any plan that Ruby may have had. So again, destroying any bond, that very tenuous bond that Max and Ruby have at the moment.
I love Ruby. She's my favourite character this week. Well, apart from the last 5 seconds.
May I use her as an example then for your argument right at the beginning of this section when you said you didn't like people when they were introduced first in the show?
Yeah, but you could tell she's hated a good actor.
We made fun. We were making jokes about the way she drank from a champagne glass.
She did that last week. Oh no, was it this week?
Oh no, that's true. We did use the giraffe joke again, didn't we? We're getting poor. We're repeating ourselves.
No, that's not fair, Ruby, because I liked her in her original stint.
Okay.
I didn't like her return storyline. Now that's finished and ended really poorly. But now that she's actually being used as a modern businesswoman and she's actually busy with the cast, she's a lot better.
I mean, you weren't very pleased when she got the club again a couple of weeks ago. So it's a very modern development that you've...
Yeah, this week.
Very recent
Basically, she hates Max.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And I thought, ever since she said no to him, it's that proposal.
But then if you hate Max on one side of the scale, she knows Jags personally on the other side of the scale.
Well, I don't like her again anyway because of what she did at the end of the episode. She took away all her character development for me.
Okay.
But we'll talk about her later.
Yep.
But we've got Ian, who's obviously doing this campaign thing, trying to impress people. But basically, Ruby's doing all the work and getting all the bonus points, but she's putting them back onto Ian.
That's right. So, which is a good campaign manager and also a good PA, if you think about it. So Ruby's doing her job exceptionally well because any praise that she's getting, she's kind of letting Ian carry it for, and have it for himself. So good for Ruby.
Any bets on the storyline? I'm putting out here early because I like to do that. That she ends up running and winning over Ian.
Oh, Ruby starts her own campaign.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
No, that woman quite liked her.
She did, but I think more of a case that there'll be some bigger political ends for Ruby. So I think that perhaps the woman knows maybe that woman is more of a higher up and going for a mayor of Wolford or something like that.
But Ruby outdoes Ian in this campaign.
Well, outdoes Ian, but not by competing against him. I think, not directly competing against him, perhaps competing against him with another candidate, perhaps.
I mean, with those videos that they're making for this campaign, I don't know if anyone can win.
I think that's a low point for Ruby's campaign. Because everyone who was doing the videos it was very staged.
I know, Kathy.
Keeping it real with Ian Bill.
I mean, Bobby was basically everyone watching that.
I think
he was just really? And obviously he got Martin to do it. And she didn't even... Because Martin's a very tall boy. You know how tall he is. She didn't even, change the camera settings. So half his head was chopped off during the speech.
I mean, I was a bit surprised that Ian couldn't, fork out for a proper camera.
No, it wasn't even a new iPad. It was really grainy, a really old one.
It looked like what Amazon... What are they called? I forget what the notes. Amazon Notes.
Fire? I don't know.
Gosh, that's bad, isn't it?
I don't use tablet. But, not good. And Ian, again, was really horrible to Martin. He was, pouring his heart out in the bill table, his family home, where he grew up with his mum and dad. Yeah, stolen by Ian. And then Ian had the gall to say to him that, I gave you a job. I built you up from nothing. I taught you how to be a businessman. It's that's a bit cruel, considering a lot of that was taken from Martin to begin with. I know.
Because that should have really been Martin's stall to inherit to begin. And the house should have been Martin's house to inherit.
I don't know, because Pete built, he owned it, didn't he? So it would have gone to his son Ian.
No, that's right, because
he
Pauline...
bought it off Pauline. Yeah, but the house is another question. But he's quit his job on the fruit stall, Martin has.
Yep, he's had enough of Ian's ways and doesn't want to work for him anymore. Because Ian wants to manipulate Martin's feelings for his promotional video.
And just use everything that he's heard about Stacey for himself.
Yes, and edit it, and I'm presuming in the way that like Homer Simpson was edited in Rock Bottom. Sweet, sweet can.
Yeah, the clock's changing. But I mean, obviously, we've gotten to this point where Martin is quit his stool. But obviously, we need to rewind a bit because these stories overlap. But how Martin got in this place in the first place?
Well, we have to go very far back for that because the whole Ben and Martin story. But
and
Ben,
Dottie.
Oh, yeah, well, yes, and Dottie. But Ben has found solace and peace and tranquility. He's a new man, smiles a lot, wants to do charitable things for Sonia.
And it takes
Beth.
2 episodes to change as a character.
Oh, wait, the Hollyoaks era.
Yeah, it's like nothing else has happened.
Yeah.
Can't ever possibly go straight. I'm going to go straight and work at the car lot full time.
Who swung Martin from the bridge like a pendulum? Not me. I'm selling cars now. I'm straight.
Yeah, it's so silly. But it's fine. We're here. We're committed.
Queer.
We're committed.
Come buy us a beer.
We're doing it. But yeah, I mean, we had Dottie obviously was being me because she told Bex how, broody Martin, he's getting it on with quite a few people.
Well, would you like Martin to shout at your face in the middle of E20? Would you?
His unwashed hair.
Yeah.
His broody look.
His alcoholic breath breathing all over your face as he shouts at you directly.
Well, it's got Dottie going. It's got Ruby going. Someone else said he looked hot when he was all moody as well. Someone, I can't remember who it was now.
Well, I think Dottie was probably feeling a little bit unwell because she had dairy products this week. Not a good vegan, Dottie.
Yes, but did you see her drink it?
Well, so she was making tea for herself to then just leave next to her.
She was making it for Dot, I feel. Her gran, who she loves.
No, I think she needs to push her agenda a bit further.
I mean, to really quickly speak about Dottie, because we hardly ever get to speak about her. But there was a few things this week where she was trying to get a bit of money because Bex wanted to go out and Martin just ignored her like he always does. And she went around to like different places trying to work out to get some money. And they all were like, nah, you're like your dad. Rough bit. Get lost.
Rough bit, yeah.
And Martin also said something about her dad to her. And she said, oh, you don't know what my dad was like. And it's like, oh, finally, little hints. But we still don't know what Dottie knows about Nick, really, do we? And there's a little hint there that does she see him as not as bad as he was, or? Well,
presumably everything she's learnt about her dad is from Dot.
From Dot, yeah.
I mean, Dot has never painted Nick in a kind light, but then at the same time, it was always her son. So, I don't know, it's interesting, isn't it? I think there needs to be, again, this whole a two-hander episode perhaps, with Dot and Dottie.
Oh, no, not a two-hander.
Oh, I'd love that, where she literally reveals everything about her.
I would literally kill June Brown. She would die halfway through filming.
Film it over a matter of days. She doesn't have to do it in one go. Months, years. Just give her time.
Well, they filmed the Dr. Leg stuff about six months worth.
Yeah.
In about 2 weeks.
Yeah, but if you think about it, there was only scenes here and there. It was only the funeral episode.
They filmed it in the summer and then aired it in February.
Well, it's warm then, isn't it?
Exactly,
so the blood's boiling inside their body.
But we do need to feel a little bit more about Dottie because she still feels like 2D cartoon character at the moment.
You don't know whether to support her or to like her or dislike her. She was doing
one of those faces.
Yeah,
like Nick.
She was, just like her dad. She was doing a good thing really when she was taking Bex out, and because she saw that Martin was being a bit dismissive of Bex.
I thought she was doing a good thing.
But then she was almost doing it for herself, which is why Martin got upset. Because
she did take Bex out.
She did take Bex out, but she was basically doing more of the drinking and the flirting and the messing around.
I don't know. Bex was swaying around quite a lot.
Yeah, but
she's a lightweight though.
She's a bit. Bex? Yeah, she doesn't drink a lot. When she had her drinking binge, when she was upset, she was drinking 2 glasses of wine and then getting in the shower with Kush. It wasn't.
That's the wife swap I want.
That's the one.
That's what I would Bex be like. I would be Bex.
Yeah, if only Bex.
Sorry, Kush.
Oh, you're in the shower.
Might as well save water. But her suicide storyline's being dropped. Sorry for Bex. That's that.
I know, exactly. There's no kind of follow-up. Again, we said they need to take care of this story, and they haven't taken care with it. Again...
left her to get drunk with in the club.
Yeah, how can we cheer her up? Oh, I know, drinking. That will help her. It's such a... It could have been done so nicely if they just followed it up a little bit. But again, unfortunately, they've had to do this shock storyline with Martin now. If they didn't have to do this kind of filler... It's not filler, I know, but kind of just in order to appease the reason why Stacey isn't there at the moment, maybe then they could have spent a bit more time having Martin, Sonia and Bex and then kind of figuring it out.
Unit,
yeah. But they've just not been allowed to do that.
All the episodes just feel like they're designed to be clips on award shows. like the Bex with background music clip, that's an award show clip, or Martin hanging off a bridge and the CGI of the train with Bobby. They're all sort of like, they just need to be piled into a trailer, and that's the only reason they did them. Well, and then after that, that's it. Maybe
this is it, though. I mean, you notice that EastEnders have had a much higher social media presence, especially since the Oates and Sen era. Like, they're using their Twitter, their Facebook, their Instagram. They're using it a lot more, and they're even encouraging viewers to kind of make their own clips from the clips that they have made from like the Keegan and Tiff wedding episode. So
that's true.
Is it? You could be 100% right. Is it that the fact that they want clickbait? They want scenes and stories and moments.
Mel Owen.
Yeah, well, but this is it though. Moments, inverted commas, moments that are able for people to just click on or see when they're scrolling through their Twitter feed and they see the Mel Owen getting hit by a lorry and they're like, "Oh, this is happening in EastEnders now, is it? Okay,
yeah,
we better get watching." Yeah.
Yeah, when it's not working. They had some low ratings last week, I will say.
But this is the problem. If you use too much shock, sometimes it can anaesthetize the viewers and make them not feel the reaction that you want quite so much anymore. Yeah, do it to get people in, but then kind of remember. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? Everyone always says, remember the roots of EastEnders, and is this something everyone was excited and thinking that was what was happening, and now it's starting to not happen again?
It's a very fine line going back to roots of EastEnders. Because it can either go one way of dull as dishwater, or this way where it's like.
It's extreme. It's like someone's,
a lot to take in.
Someone's put a hit of adrenaline in your veins and just going. I mean, there's so much good stuff you can say about it. Like the fact that this week when we're looking at the stories, there's so much interaction from characters all over the place. The wife swap story has been excellent actually for that, where characters are kind of
good.
Yeah, they've been getting into pockets where you wouldn't think characters would get into pockets of, and you know, it's worked nicely. Don't get me wrong. I think the soap is great, but sometimes there's too much happening too quickly.
Like, I think it's a shame we didn't, because Wife Swap's over now, isn't it? I'm assuming.
Well, next week's the quiz, because we found out how you win Wife Swap. You have question and answer periods, and then you win £500.
Because I kind of feel slightly robbed of a Patrick and Kush scene.
Patrick and Kush.
A Patrick and Kat scene, because they have like quite a bit of history. Because she was with Paul Truman, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
Was it Paul? The other one.
Zoe was with Paul as well.
Yeah, I can't remember. She was with one of the brothers. What was the doctor called? Anthony. That's who Zoe was with.
No, that's right.
Kat was with him too. Well, one of them. She was with one of the brothers, and like there was something that they maybe could have done with Kat and Patrick. Just have a little
reminisce.
Yeah.
Of the past.
But we didn't get it.
That's true. Actually, I never really thought of that.
Anyway, back on to Martin.
Yes.
On his many storylines on his adventures. Which none of them make sense, so let's not look into them too much. So
to cheer Bex up.
Does she drive? Has she passed her test?
Doesn't matter, she could be learning.
Did Louise pass her test?
She was learning.
Keanu teacher. Did Sharon pass her test in 1991 with Grant? No one knows.
No, they just all.
No one knows.
They just give out licenses at Wolford, DVLA.
But yeah, to cheer Bex up, to help her run away without mascara on her face, Sonia wants to get her a car to give her a bit of freedom. Because she's a bit upset at the moment.
When she goes to uni, Oxbridge.
You are still going, yeah?
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, she goes to Ben, the only car dealer in the world.
Trusted, reliable.
And he's like being really nice, like to Martin all of a sudden. It's really weird. How he's like, "Oh, don't worry, Martin. I'll sort Bex out with a nice, good motor for her.
Yeah, good price for you."
So for God's sake.
Do you reckon Dylan Box is going to come out of that caravan one day and be like, "All right, hey, you want to go in motor?" Yeah, I've been gone for a while. But
Martin doesn't want to any more dealing, so he sort of tells Sonia no.
Well, he says no. If you're going to get a car, you're not getting it from him. Yeah. And Sonia's like, "Well, who do I get it from then? There's no one else here. I'm looking in the square and there's no one here."
No. Well, she says she'll do it herself then, Martin. Single woman on her own.
Yeah, well,
I mean, the car.
There must be adverts in like the local classifieds, especially in Wolford Gazette, or in the cards in the Minute Mart.
Oh, what, for like a cheap car?
Yeah.
Well, Ben will get her one.
Yeah, but she doesn't want Ben. Well, Martin doesn't want her to get it.
Martin doesn't own Sonia.
No, that is true. But then Sonia doesn't own a car yet, so it's a very difficult situation. Sonia doesn't want anything to do with Martin anymore, though. She thinks that they need a bit of a rest.
She was like, move out of Dot's house.
yeah.
It's like, Stuart can live here, that's fine, but not Martin.
Well, because Dot has given Stuart permission. I wonder how Dot's getting on with...
Dot's giving Martin permission.
No, I think that was just by association with Sonia.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Dot's getting on all right buying her council house? They seem to... That's a slow burner. That's a story that they seem to be just...
Oh, yeah.
That's something they could have done in a week, but no, they're keeping that one for a few months.
Yeah, the last we heard of that was she was trying to get heating.
She said once she's got the house, she can start looking at getting some central heating. So good times ahead for Dot.
It is. I mean, the way we ended this week, obviously after the whole Ian thing and him quitting his job at the market stall, he was drowning his sorrows with his tankard, Pete-Cell tankard.
What?
And Ruby was like a sympathetic ear because she can't believe that Stacey's done this. I can't believe Stacey's done this.
She said herself she was shook. She was shook. He was shook.
We were all shook that Stacey's been at the school gates making friends.
And keeping
Louis... going to bed with them.
Yep, and keeping Ruby out of the loop. So Ruby's,
not a very good friend, is she, Stacey?
Well, they were, Ruby came for help by Stacey. Stacey said she would never leave her. She would always be her best friend throughout. And all it took is her leaving for a month and she's just forgotten.
I had such high hopes for Ruby when Martin, came, because she invited Martin back to her bedsit.
Yeah.
Millionaire Ruby in a bedsit. Something there, isn't there? And he sort of tried to kiss her and she backed away and was like, oh no, don't. But she didn't make it awkward or horrible. She was like, it's fine, whatever. And I thought, no, Ruby's so going up in my estimations this week. She's saying no to Max's marriage. She's calling Max a prat because he tried to start a fight. She's been really good with Ollie.
Oh, we should talk about that fight for a second. How much of a Max... Again, just showing his horrible colours, that he took relish in making fun of Martin because Stacey had left him. It's like, all right, Max, go away.
Martin's got the upper hand now, hasn't he?
Well, yeah. Good, I'm glad. Do you know what? Actually, that's another reason why I'm glad that they kissed. Now, you brought that up, because it makes Max look like the little man that he is.
And also, Max, Max cheated on Stacey when she was with Martin. Now Martin's cheating on with Ruby when she's with Max.
Yeah, so... good.
Haha.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is good.
It's just a shame he couldn't do it over Christmas, because that seems to be Max's prime.
Oh, yeah.
That's his time, isn't it, to move in on Stacey?
I mean, is this the first time Max has been cheated on, I wonder? Must be very difficult for him. After all the times he's done it to them.
To everyone.
Yeah.
Most recently he did it with Rainey, with some French woman.
Yeah.
Some French floozy.
Good on you, Martin.
Yeah.
But a part of me was sitting there thinking, I really respect Ruby because she said she turned away, but she didn't make a big deal out of it. And then he did it again and she turned away and said, oh no, I'll just leave you here. I'll go to the Vic. I thought, oh, this is different. They normally walk away and then turn back and then kiss again, but they didn't. I was like, ooh, but then she did that anyway.
Well, she did, yeah. Eventually she did walk away, turn back and kiss.
So one thing I didn't think I was like, I really respect you, Ruby. That's really good for your character. And then she just did that.
Although I did like the fact that Martin is ridiculously tall, and when they were kissing, he literally had to bend in half to to reach her.
Yeah, he's very tall, Martin.
He's a very tall guy, isn't he? Doesn't wear heels or anything, does he?
No, big shoes, big feet.
Yeah. Big
fruit stool.
Yeah. Big aubergine.
But so what's going to go on with them then? Are they going to be having a secret affair? Is she just going to ditch Max? Because she kind of said to Martin, I kind of don't really want to be with him anyway. He's an old man and he's annoying.
Oh yeah, I loved it when she called him an old man. It's like, yeah, he's a really old man. It's like, I like older men, but he's an old man.
So perfect. I wonder if they're just gonna, maybe she'll get rid of Max and they'll just have a relationship.
I don't think Ruby should feel, personally, I don't think Ruby should feel guilty because it's Max for one.
Yeah, but you got her best friend Stacey to think about.
Yes, but then at the same time, I mean, Martin made his own bed in this situation, and yes, obviously kissing Ruby is basically making your bed and then soiling it and then just kind of living in it for the rest of your life. He's made a real mistake there. I don't think Ruby's innocent either in this, but I don't know. I think that Stacey's made so many mistakes with Martin. I think she could she not just let this one slide if they did decide to get back together again?
Yeah, but it just makes everything all a bit even more dirtier than
but it is dirty anyway. Martin and Stacey's relationship has never been clean from the beginning.
That's true.
It's like it was always Martin pursuing Stacey. Stacey didn't really like Martin, then moaned that she thought he was too soft and reliable. Something, by the way, Ruby likes. She likes the strong and reliable type. Yeah,
but she likes Martin now. He's all moody, broody.
But then there was always hints of her and Martin when it was her original storyline.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. We were all feared.
Yeah, the consent storyline. And
if that happened back then, we would just be like, oh no.
Oh, it would be terrible. Yeah, it would be awful. Absolutely awful. But I do wonder if that was always maybe an intention and then they kind of reeled it in a little bit. and then thought, okay, well, it was always an idea. Let's
Now's the
throw it
time.
back on the table again. Yeah.
Yeah, Stacey's moved on with Jerome.
Jamone.
I can't remember what his
Robson
name
and Jamone.
But everyone's just moving on so fast from this marriage.
But
The only sensible one's Kush.
What, Kush and Kat?
No, Kush and Martin. He's very sensible to Martin. He's put his hands on his shoulders.
Yeah, but Kush also slept with Stacey.
They're on a break.
He's not innocent in
They
this
were on
either.
a break.
I mean, Stacey has this history, and can she not just kind of just see it for what it is? Like, everyone's very highly strung.
Her best mate.
But everyone's very on edge, and everyone just needs to take a deep breath, step back, and realise that this is not a clean situation.
I mean, Stacey shouldn't actually care because technically they're finished. So
yeah, but this is, again, it's pride, isn't it? She's a bit like Mercedes in Hollyoaks. That's
Mercedes
right.
McQueen.
Our Hollyoaks comment of the day.
Don't get me started on Mercedes.
She's accused her own husband of shooting her just as a revenge tactic.
For fun.
Because she, in her coma, overheard him saying that he was having an affair while she was in the coma.
This is Hollyoaks, by the way, not Stacey.
Yeah, sorry, this is a Hollyoaks.
Maternity leave.
Anyone who's new to listening to the show, at least once an episode we talk about Hollyoaks at some point, and we related to the show, and that was our one.
It was.
So enjoy.
Mercedes and Stacey are on parallel.
They're very similar, aren't they? They also wear a lot of red and have long black hair with a
Brown
fringe.
hair, yeah.
Brown hair, sorry, with a fringe.
Yeah. But
They are very similar, I just realised. McQueen and Slater.
The McQueens are basically the Slaters of Hollyoaks. 'Cause they're all loads of them, they're all common.
Wow. Slap down.
Oh, Big Mo won't mind. Right, I think it's time to go on to part 2 of our new game, Pauline's Fruit Bowl. So we'll listen to that and then we'll finish off the roundup. So we are back for part 2 of the fondly remembered game, Pauline's Fruit Bowl.
We've played it once and we've not even played it to its entirety yet, so I don't think there's enough time to fondly remember it.
No, I can tell it's going to be a hit already.
Not halfway's hat hit, though.
No. So obviously in part 1 you answered a question on a category of picking something out of Pauline's Fruit Bowl.
Yeah, which is the whole premise of this game.
Yes.
This very small part of the game is the whole premise.
So you had Mitchells as your category. And you had to name as many Mitchells in 30 seconds, and you named 7.
Yes.
So you've got 7 chances to get this next question correct.
Okay, so this is going to be a really tough question, isn't it?
Well, it's not that tough.
Okay.
But luckily, people are going to think this is fake now, I've just realised, because this relates to the Mitchells. But the question I have actually relates to a Mitchell. So that's weird.
Mm.
But it wasn't fake. You actually did pick it out from random.
Some voodoo stuff is going down.
So I want you to ask, in 7 tries or less, as of the 22nd of November 2019, how many Duff-Duffs has Max Bowden's Ben Mitchell had?
Max Bowden's Ben Mitchell.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And he's been it. Okay.
It's been in it a lot.
Okay. How
in
many?
A short time.
Max Bowden. And you, if I give an answer, you're going to say if it's high or lower?
Yes.
Okay.
But that will use up one of your 7 points.
Of course, but then I need to make a guess. Or else I can't just...
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to say 50.
Really? That's lower.
Lower? Okay. Okay. You seem surprised by how high that was. Okay. 15. 15.
Higher.
I'm writing them down in case I forget. 25.
Lower.
Ooh, okay. I'm narrowing them down.
4 more tries.
20.
Higher. For the grand prize.
What do I win?
Pauline's Fruit Bowl. You win something from Pauline's Fruit Bowl, so a bit of fruit.
Oh, lovely.
From Martin's store.
Can I choose or?
No.
Okay. Doesn't feel like a prize, really.
It's Martin's banana.
Oh, lovely. Does it peel easy? Does it bruise easy?
You have to ask Kush.
I have to ask Ben about bruising. 22.
Higher.
Oh, okay. I've got 2 more guesses, and it's either 23 or 24. Oh, so I can get this. Okay, 23.
That's correct. 23 Duff-Duffs already.
I said 50, and you said that's too high.
He's had the most this year.
Or of all the cast.
So far, as of 22nd of November. Thank you, Wolford Webb.
Thank you again, Wolford Webb, for that information. I feel that Linda is chasing his heels somewhat.
Well, she's only had 3 in 1 week.
Oh, has she? Oh, I thought she had a couple more.
No, that's it.
She had an influx this week.
As of the 22nd of November.
All right, well, hand over his banana. Come on.
1 hand or 2 hands?
I'll tackle you for it.
But yeah, you did that one chance remaining, so...
I'm good
those points were needed.
I'm good at high level. Well, exactly. So the more points I had, the more chance I had to win. The whole premise of Pauline's Fruit Bowl.
Well, there you go. So that was the first edition of Pauline's Fruit Bowl, and we have 18 categories left to go through, so
I'm sure there'll be more as well.
Oh yeah. And that was Pauline's Fruit Bowl. So we've got to talk about the rest of the Wolford takeover. We can have this place in a year.
No time at all. All we have to do is throw a few rats. They really are the Pied Pipers of Wolford.
There must be more to that plan of them taking over Wolford, I'm assuming, than just the rat thing.
Well, just at the moment, that seems to be their plan. And that does, as you say, Vinny seems to think that they will own the square within a year by this plan.
Well, Vinny's trying to romanticise Wolford a bit because he wants to be near Ash. And he's obviously using, we can take over this in a year, or this pub's a really nice local, why don't we live here?
Yeah.
He's like trying to convince the two brothers to move there so they're closer to Ash, I think. But also it's a bit strange because obviously we know their mum's dying, so what, are they just moving away from the mum, or are they going to bring her with them?
Well, that's the interesting part, isn't it? Is their mum going to be another character that's going to be brought in? But again, is she going to be a bit like Bailey's mum? The fact that she's basically going to be on screen for 3 months and then die. It's just a funny one, isn't it? Because they were making such a big pitch to Ash to see her mum because she's ill and going to die soon, and now they're planning to all move down, and live in
Chris and Vic instead.
Yeah, and live in the square, and like you say, start this rat ring where they're just kind of releasing rats into general buildings and contaminate.
I mean, they're getting themselves involved with a few storylines. Our favourite Jags, he's not just got one storyline, he's got another storyline going along with Chantelle, because they went to drama school together.
They did.
Who wrote that? Let's not go there. So they were in drama school together.
Ironic.
Apparently he bullied her and called her a bog brush because of her hair and stuff.
Yeah,
but he didn't seem to realise he did it. But I suppose it's that thing of
if you like
guy
someone
who fancies someone who's mean to her, I guess. I just do not want Jags and Chantelle together. But
I don't think that's going to happen.
There were hints of a rivalry with Kheerat because he had his little eye on Chantelle.
Well, that's right, and Kheerat caught Grey cheating with the wife swap and made a little indication that he knew, and Grey I think spotted it too. So yes, I think there might be fight for affections by Kheerat, probably ultimately upsetting Jags one way or another.
Once Grey's out, I'm guessing Grey will be out of the picture. I don't know, but I mean, what kind of love triangle is that? Kheerat, Jags and Chantelle.
I mean,
really?
Yeah, but Chantelle should shoot it down instantly. Even Kheerat, I think I said earlier on the podcast, even Kheerat made fun of his own brother to kind of tread on him so he was able to get to Chantelle.
Oh, poor Jags, always put down. Never trusted with his family.
There's probably a reason. I mean, let's not forget that a couple of weeks ago he locked himself in the car because he got upset over something Vinny had said, like a 10-year-old child. Oh no.
We also had that thing with Ash where she said that she was getting chucked out of her flat, so she has to move into Wolford. And that's obviously what Vinny was wanting to hint at.
Well, yeah, Kheerat offered a place to stay because they were getting their own flat. And she was like, no, it's fine. I'm going to stay with Iqra. I mean, Iqra's got quite a large house there, so there is room. Do you think that the other Painter brothers are going to eventually wangle their way into that house?
No, I think they're going to get Mel's place. Because they had a scene of Jack on the phone to someone saying, oh yeah, it's up for rent. You can come visit in the evenings, is best for me.
Okay.
Because he's got a full-time job.
Yes, of course, because police officers don't work at the night. There's no crime being pitched in the evening.
No, so I'm assuming that's going to be the three brothers' house. Hopefully they redecorate the green.
I was going to say, it needs redecorating.
Although Lisa's in there still, isn't she? I guess Jack's just chucking her out because she's not paying bills.
Well, yeah, because she's not got any money to pay for it. So where's she going to stay? She's going to stay with the Mitchells? Yeah, there's a room for you here. My God, can you imagine her investigating Sharon whilst living with her? Poor old Sharon, she's going to have some woman kind of walking up to her every 5 minutes with a magnifying glass, looking at minute details, everything she says or does.
And then obviously the Ash and Iqra moving in together leads on to them being entered into the wife swap competition.
Because it sounds like fun.
Yeah, and obviously they got Honey and Adam.
Yes.
So poor Iqra got lumbered with the other drip of the square. Where he I thought, this storyline has been so poorly paced.
Stop saying that about every story.
No, but this one has really been poorly paced because
but this is the opposite though. But this is it. This is the opposite because we've known about this story with Honey and Adam for a year now. Something is only kind of happening now with it.
Yeah, it's like once a month you get something.
You get a little tidbit and then you get thrown back into the water.
Because you had all those good bits of like Habiba was in the flat when Honey came in and it was all really a bit dramatic, and then by the swings and then people saw them kiss and then you get a month off and then something else happened. And then it seems to have done that again. But we got a bit of character progression with Adam, where he sort of talks about his past and being a foster child and how he's never really been accepted.
Yeah, no one really loved him until he met Arshad and Miriam. And he admitted he lied when he made that big claim that they were abusive to him, which was good that they did that, but at the same time, why did they do that then? What was the point of that?
Just for the trailer, the summer trailer.
Yeah, just for the poos and giggles.
And so you thought, okay, there's something more to Adam. But then it was just all undone in like the next scene because he was just arranging to have an affair with this woman, and then Iqra just took everything back from what they'd bonded together. So it was really like...
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I quite liked this scene because it showed that Adam and Iqra did have this bond, this friendship. Even, when they were younger, there must have been something good or close about them, that they had this... They were on a similar ground. They were all, in the same kind of boat being looked after by Miriam and Arshad. In their family, and so she kind of let him in, but it was almost telling that she'd obviously let him in once or twice before and he let her down, and now she let him in again and he let her down because he was setting up a date
away.
Exactly, he was setting up a date with his secretary, presumably Sally, to sleep in a hotel room instead of staying with Iqra for the wife swap, without Honey's knowledge of this either. So yeah, I mean, it's going to come to a head real soon now, isn't it?
It must, surely. It's coming. There's not much more they can really do.
Not with Honey and Adam, definitely not.
I mean, there was interesting bits with Honey because she was living with Ash. And Ash, she's confident. She says what she wants to say. She's a doctor. She's professional. She was sort of picking up on all these signs that Honey is bulimic or has some sort of eating disorder. And I found it interesting how Honey opened up to her and said, I've had it like my whole life.
Yeah, well, Ash was kind to Honey too. Like Ash said, you're beautiful. No matter what you wear, you're going to look stunning.
Banging body.
Banging body. And she built...
you're getting 10s on Strictly.
Yeah, with Anton. Who'd have thought? And she, Ash was really building Honey up. And it just took one little knock by Adam to knock her back down again. And I think Ash noticed that because when Honey said, have you noticed my blouse, my beautiful blouse? And
my cleavage.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Yeah, and he was really horrible to her.
He was like, it doesn't suit you.
Yeah, a bit much, a bit obvious.
Yeah, I know. It's such a nasty thing to say.
Sally was wearing that. He'd be in that book in that hotel room.
Yeah.
But so that was nice, and I guess that's the difference between Ash and Habiba, because we've had that similar thing with Habiba where she's like done her makeup and she's made Honey dress up a bit in front of Adam, and Adam again didn't notice, but also Habiba didn't really notice. Whereas Ash, she's like clocked it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so that's why I like her as a character. She's not written as dumb, or not dumb, but not written as ignoring obvious plot points.
But she's also sensitive. So although she spotted it. Immediately.
She didn't just bedside manner there.
Absolutely. She didn't just outright say, I know you've got a problem, so you need to talk to me about it. She built Honey up and subtly then put it into a conversation. So then Honey felt like she could open up to her. And I think that was really good. And I get so excited when I see a scene with Ash because I just know that it's going to be a really good scene. And hopefully with her brothers, then her strength can continue. I think if they stick with her and Iqra, it'd be nice to do a few stories with them, especially relationship stories, because you don't really get relationship stories much anymore in soaps. Like you can see the struggle of two people, building a relationship together, especially when families are being so adamant to try to tear them apart and make them not be together, which is kind of what the Ash's brothers are doing to her. They're deliberately trying to pull her away and bring them back into this family unit, this destructive family unit that Ash has been strong enough and brave enough to step outside of. And yeah, I think to see that dynamic with Iqra would be interesting too.
It would, because even with BALLUM to a certain extent, Ben and Callum, like
in case you didn't know,
like they're kind of like they went from wedding to just in a relationship. Like we've not really we see them kiss each other and hug each other all the time, but we don't actually see them together as a couple if you think about it.
You're
so that
right.
is a massive missed opportunity of those two with Ben. So hopefully we will see that with Iqra and Ash, but they've been together a year already.
Off screen. Yeah.
So they're more embedded as a relationship, I guess.
I get that, but the fact that they're so established now already, it makes it more interesting for me because they've had their fun part, they've had the kind of exciting part. Not
honeymoon.
Okay. Yeah, the honeymoon period. Obviously, it's still exciting. It's only been a year, but this is where the kind of building begins, and they start to build their relationship. They think about family, they think about marriage, they think about moving in together. And if you've got an outside force that's trying to stop it, then, which is why in a way, as you said with BALLUM, it was nice when Callum's dad came over, and that's why a video you can find on our YouTube channel. I'm saying that I would actually like Callum's dad Johnny to come back, because that's another relationship story. So at the moment, Callum's trying to get Ben on the straight and narrow. Callum wants to do a job which is somewhat destructive toward the Mitch and laughable toward the Mitchell family. And to have an outside influence maybe kind of pulling them further apart than they are kind of almost going already. They've had the fun bit where they kind of got together. The sparks have flown. So they should still be in this fun part, but there's so much. I want to see the relationship goals.
Especially with obviously Iqra being out now, they can actually be a couple out in public. So that's like the next level for their thing going forward. But what about the fact that Honey said that she's been bulimic her whole life? Like, is that a bit of a rewrite of her history?
I don't
never
think
really
so.
been hints of it before. I've never.
She was a model, and I don't want to stereotype. No, I know I sound like I'm stereotyping by saying this, but there's a rich history in the model industry where women would and men. Sorry, I shouldn't just choose one sex. Men and women would do anything within their means to kind of make themselves look thin and beautiful and sexy and get that job. And
why have we not seen this before though? If it's
because she said she's always tried to hide it because of her kids.
Right. So she hid it from our screen. She hid it from the viewers.
Well, she's had to though, because
all those years she had no storyline. She's hidden this from us.
Well, this is the thing though. We don't know what she's been doing with that no storyline. No. She could be doing this. She could have been doing this for months.
This whole time she had the biggest story to tell.
Yeah, she really did. But so you don't know what happens behind closed doors, Ben. That's the mantra of EastEnders at the moment.
I mean, maybe in the future, maybe Linda and Honey can have a conversation, because Linda had that storyline where she was bulimic her whole life. But they'd forgotten that, didn't they?
Well, make Honey an alcoholic.
It was like someone mixed up the scripts here, isn't it? No, Shirley should be an alcoholic, and Linda was meant to have the bulimic
Linda's the bulimic.
And Honey and Adam were meant to have the domestic abuse storyline, not Great and Chantelle. What's happened? We'll just keep it as it is.
It is almost like they put all the storyline plots in one hat, put the characters in another hat, and just pick them out. Yeah. Well, this is what we were going to do, but we're going to mix that up a little bit and see who gets what.
And the things that don't make sense, we'll just do a week worth of wife swap. We'll write it, so.
We'll just recon the whole 35 years. Who'll know?
But maybe they'll remember, because they remembered Linda's cancer storyline last year with Jean. They brought that up, so maybe they'll have like a thing with Linda when she's getting better. And
it could be useful for Linda as well to help her get better too.
Because Linda and Billy had that scene, so there'll be like a whole big mix of
she can return the favour things
going on. But I think that's it. For us, that is.
Yeah, that's another week. Another week in Wolford.
What a messy week that was.
Well, it was just everyone was everywhere, weren't they? All this wife swapping, all this ball and change. Oh, I think I need a change.
Right, so let's go on to our Who on the Week, our comments, and our look at this time last year.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
Now, as Dot says, it's time for Not One for Gossip, where we read out your tweets and your emails and
gossip.
And more gossip from our social media posts. And we also find out who's won the week this week. But before we do any of this, as always, we find out who had won previous weeks this time last year, with Ben telling us a story or two about EastEnders of the past.
Starting with birthdays.
Yes.
I'm going to ignore that accent because I don't know what it was.
I don't really. I was just trying to sound posh.
Big one here, which one of our most beloved characters, Mr. Birthday this week. Hayley Slater.
Really?
30th of April 1991. She was born.
Is she ever going to come back for Cherry?
Is she ever going to be mentioned? Jean didn't care, did she? Last year, she made a massive deal about it.
Had she had Cherry by this point? I forget.
No. I don't know. Yes. Yes, she did, because Christmas was when, like, she had it at Halloween, remember?
Of course she did. She had it in the squat. Yes. So she's had Cherry for like a month now. Yeah. Had Shane Ritchie returned at this point?
I think it was that episode, wasn't it? Because he turned up at her birthday.
Okay.
Something like that.
So they started building up the Christmas story, is my point.
Not doing that now, are they?
Nope.
The other birthday was 1st of December because this comes out on Sunday.
Which is the 1st of December. Yeah, so happy birthday.
1941, Rose Cotton was born. Which is Dot's sister.
Yes. The one
lovely, loyal sister.
Yes, the other...
The
other wife of Charlie Cotton.
The other woman.
He liked sisters, didn't he?
One death, which is Owen Turner on 26th of November 2009, and he was one of Lucas's victims. He strangled him with a tie.
He was
the
Denise's ex-husband or boyfriend
like that, or
with
like that.
Who was the older sister? Not Squiggle, Chelsea.
Yes, her. So he was a victim. That's the only death.
Good.
That's a shame.
Don't want too many deaths, do we, in his world?
No, and it's a bit of a dodgy week because I went through loads of all the years, trying to find a decent episode, and it was hard going. So it's obviously a bit of a dodgy year.
A dodgy time of year.
Yeah. So the one I ended up on was the 28th of November 1996. Basically, it was Peggy and Pat, and I thought, can't go wrong.
Of course you can't. It's our alter ego.
Exactly. So Peggy has arranged a doctor's appointment with Dr. Legg. Pat's obviously in there as well because Peggy wants to keep this a bit secret.
Is his doctor's surgery still downstairs in the basement?
Yeah.
Where Claudette got knocked down the stairs?
Yeah, that's the one.
Dr. Legg's old practice.
Yeah, so Pat's there reading a magazine because she's got her HRT tablets restocked, that's all. And
just a repeat prescription. That's all she needs.
She's all right. But Peggy's there for more serious matters because she's noticed a lump on her breast. So this is the start of her breast cancer storyline.
A real famous one.
And so she goes to the doctor. Dr. Legg's turned up once a year, as he does, to say his 3 lines.
Yeah, gives his medical advice to the square and then leaves.
He does that thing where, when he's like reading off of like Wikipedia. He does that. It's like, you could have this, which is this, and that. Or, Peggy, you could have this, which is this. Did you know it does this? It's like, oh God, Dr. Legg. I cut it out of the video I put on Twitter because it was just silly.
Oh, check it out on our Twitter. Yeah. I'll tell you how to find us a bit later in this section.
So poor Peggy's like having a horrible day, and he says, you have to go back for more tests. And we obviously know what happens because obviously in 2017 this is what eventually comes back and takes Peggy's life. So it's a big storyline for Barbara Windsor. And at the end of so she goes home, has a glass of wine and the Vic. Nice peaceful day, but someone comes in, breaks in and breaks all the bottles and all sorts. So it's all
she can't have a break, can she, old Peggy?
Our Peg.
I mean, we've seen old Peggy, the before Barbara Windsor Peggy, recently, haven't we, on Classic?
Oh God, yeah, Jo Ware, I think her name was.
With her eyebrows painted on with a thin brush.
Yeah, and her really bad shoulder pads.
She looks really sad as well. She looks
downtrodden Peggy.
Yeah, which is not what you remember Peggy as being. Peggy's just really loud and confident and like over the top.
Feisty. Yeah,
feisty.
She was just an annoying pushover who did housework.
Well, yeah, she had a strop because her daughter was getting married and she didn't approve. And then because everyone kind of bowed down to her and acknowledged that perhaps she was right, she then approved of the marriage and then went to it. It was just really dumb. This was Sam Mitchell, when she married Ricky. Ricky Butcher.
Awful casting for Peggy, but they went through 4 actors before they even got Jo Ware, so...
Well, this was the auditioning process, wasn't it? So, yeah.
Difficult part to cast, but they got there in the end.
They did with old Babs. Beautiful Barbara Windsor. She was fantastic. Lovely. So, who won the week this week? 4 stories, as always, put up on our social media, our Twitter, our Instagram and Facebook group. But which one won? So here are the 4 options. There was Linda's Hit and Mum.
Right.
Oh, we're not going to give me an opinion this time? No? Okay. Citizen Bill.
Yeah.
Okay. Fowler Fallout.
Yeah, that's good.
And the Painter Brothers Move In.
No.
Okay.
No. No, they don't.
I mean, again, there was an out-and-out winner, but so we're going to go in reverse order. So who do you think came last?
The brothers.
It was Citizen Bill with 14% of the vote.
That involves Jags.
It does, to be fair. A lot of these stories kind of involve them in one way or another. The Painter Brothers came third with 19%.
Okay.
The Fowler Fallout was second with 25%.
Really?
Linda's Hit and Mum came first with 42% of the vote.
Well, that's interesting. Obviously, the Linda storyline's hitting home then. It's doing well.
Oh, I guess so. I mean, again, it was a real mixed bag depending on where you voted on which social media. Like each one had its own favourite, so it's good. I mean,
she does better than Leo and Whitney. That's like never gets any.
Leo
votes.
Whitney very rarely gets good votes.
No.
Yeah. And nor does Adam, really.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprised me so much.
But it'd been interesting actually. We could, if I did just Honey's story this week, perhaps maybe it would have got a bit more interest.
We'll never know.
Okay, but as always, you can get in touch with us on all our social medias, which a lot of you have, and so we have some messages to read out. Oh yes, very exciting. So a few messages about Ruby to start with. @afru43 on Twitter said, "I want her away from Max. Am I alone in that?
No.
She has the potential to be a really brilliant addition. These last episodes, I've really enjoyed Ruby with others."
She's been so much better. Just seeing her like behind the Vic, like in a weird way, felt right. Like
Yeah, I thought that.
when like Kat went behind the Vic, and all of a sudden you thought, "Oh, that looks good." When Ruby was there, I was like, "Oh, actually, I could see you behind the bar." It's just a shame she's got E20, I guess.
Well, you say it's a shame. That could be the start of the Ruby Empire. Matt Cherry @Matt19020 on Twitter said, "Yes, they have chemistry." This is Ruby and Martin, but really bothered that this major plot development was rushed through in just one episode.
Tell me about it. All the plot elements are rushed through in one episode, love. It's not an isolated occasion anymore.
It really isn't. @JSSL_96 says, "Disgusting, especially after Stacey helped Ruby during her rape ordeal."
Oh yeah, she punched him in the face for her and stopped her murdering him in that same flat.
Well, it wasn't murdering him. It was to cut a certain appendage off.
She might have murdered him. That might have killed him.
I suppose that he could have died from loss of blood.
Yeah.
From that area. @Sardonic Sark on Twitter says, "Ruby is great. She's come across great last week with the whole letting Karen have a job, and obviously she's come across really well throughout the entire episode. Good for her."
Yeah, Karen having a job thing's stupid. We didn't talk about that, but I hate it when a character is trying to like say something, and because the other characters is talking too much, they don't say it. So that annoys me. You don't care, do you?
No, it did annoy me, but then it made sense again because it was kind of mopped up by Ruby saying, I want women to be strong and independent, and I'm on the side of Karen having this additional job in order to make her feel, like she can do whatever she wants. She should be allowed to at least try, and and that's a good mantra for Ruby. She did that with Martin. At least she can try.
Oh yeah, I'd give a go. Martin a go.
We're very aware you would, Ben. We're very aware, as are the listeners. We had a message on Facebook about Linda from Rebecca Swain. She said, "I think it's a tricky one to pull off for Linda when there are so many characters on the square who drink heavily and use alcohol as a coping mechanism."
Lots of people keep saying that, don't they?
But it is true. No, exactly.
Yeah,
but
it is true.
It is very true, let's be honest. Also on our Facebook, Alistair Avery has said, "Is it me or are the Painter brothers trying to pick up where the Wilmot Brown storyline left off, trying to take over and fleece the neighbourhood?"
Yeah, it's like a thing that everyone seems to try and do a storyline like this. Like they try their own way of doing this storyline of someone taking over the community.
Yeah, regenerate the community and make it make it less old EastEnd and more new EastEnd.
It always flops, and then in the end, the characters all get together as a community.
Yeah,
and bust them out. Like they've done it so many times, like with the Firm, like even way back when it first started, to like the Moon Brothers as well. They tried to do it. The Mitchell brothers did do it for quite a while.
That's true. The Council tried to do it in 88, 89.
The Council, and then Wilmot Brown. So yeah, it's something like they keep trying. It's obviously a storyline that someone wants to do, but no one wants to see.
Yeah, no one seems to get it quite right, do they?
Plus, it's just a stupid storyline.
It's not stupid if done well,
No,
and it's a good way of kind of rebuilding the set, as it were, because then they can start introducing new places and new characters that would be more.
Why are these three random brothers doing this? It's just weird.
I'm presuming it's just to make it, like I say, more in line with what's seen as modern East End London now, because modern East End London is very trendy and hip, and
But the Kheerat was like, "Oh, don't see pubs like this anymore. They're all flats now. This one's really good." It's like, really?
It did worry me.
Like two people in there.
Yeah, when they mentioned about the pub and it's like they turned them into flats, that it instantly sent like a pang down my body, and I was like, "Oh no, please don't say they're doing this again.
No.
Please don't say they're going to start doing a building development." And we just start like it'll be like Ruby will find out about it, and it'll just be the exact same story again. And Ruby will like keep it secret, and then Max will probably find out, and then Max will join in, and Max is an idiot. Anyway, more random ones. Pat Ralph Hanovan said, "My Current complaint is characters without a single relative in the world. Why is Louise arranging Mel's funeral? Did Mel not have siblings, cousins, great aunts, or any blood relatives?
She did. On screen as well for many years. So yeah, it's just very strange.
Also, Ben put out a tweet this week saying, who could Billie Piper be in EastEnders? We had plenty of responses, but it was pretty much a common consensus that everyone thought that she could be Sharon's long-lost sister.
I know lots of people was on like the same wavelength.
The one from her birth mum that Sharon wanted to know.
Carol.
Wanted to know her, got to know her, despite Carol's efforts not to want to get to know her, but eventually let her wall down, her guard down, and then Sharon was like, I don't want to know you anymore. And then stopped wanting to know her.
Yeah, and she died.
So, is it Carol's littlest one? The one she was actually giving birth to? When Sharon intruded her maternity wing.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Day. So,
I don't know why it came into my head, it just did, and it ended up on Twitter.
Well, there's lots of stuff on our Twitter, questions that we always
Who has the
think
best
about.
hair?
I was about to say, one of them also this week was Ben asked who had the best hair in Wolford. So
it's because I was watching one of those really bad Christmas films, and there's an actor on there who was in like the reboot of Dallas. And I thought, he has really good hair. And then I thought, I wonder who has the best hair in EastEnders. And then I put it on Twitter. That's what happens in my head.
Ben has surprisingly a lot of spare time on his hands.
Not that much.
You're watching a Christmas film at the end of November.
I didn't watch it. It was just on that weird channel.
What, Channel 5?
Oh, I don't know. I saw his hair. It was really good.
Anyway,
the guy who was in Dallas.
Okay, fair enough. We've got to get down to Channel 5 anyway. We've got Jane McDonald to watch.
Oh, yeah.
So shall I go through the socials?
Yeah, quick.
Okay. So find us on Twitter at EastEnders Week, Instagram at EastEnders Weekly Podcast. You can also find our Facebook group by searching EastEnders Weekly Podcast and then clicking to join the group. Everyone's welcome. It's a really friendly group. Come and join us. You can also find our YouTube channel just again by searching EastEnders Weekly Podcast. We have loads of videos. We have a spoiler cast out every Tuesday revealing some of the plots and stories that were happening the following week. We also have exclusive original content where we talk about past characters, and also we have our tier list and many other things. And you can also email us, eastendersweekly@gmail.com. We love receiving your comments. We like to read them out. We've got some questions from people, which if we have time, we will read them out real soon and answer them for you. It's just having time. If there's a lot of things happening in an episode of EastEnders, unfortunately.
A lot to moan about.
We have exactly. We like to be the two old men in the Muppet show, which sit in the balcony and just throw things and moan about things throughout their whole episode of EastEnders. And don't forget, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts,
yes,
review us. Leave us a nice message and we'll be really appreciative. Everything helps. Everything is great. Everything is really helpful and lovely, and thank you. And we love you very much for doing it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's enough.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a great week.